Hello, man. Hello, Mgtows. It's another Sunday morning, I think. I didn't even check my day yet. Yeah, it's Sunday morning. And it's the regular Trav and Friends or Traversable Mgtow or Throwdown or Brodown, whatever you prefer, on Sunday morning. And we'll talk about a wide variety of subjects. Today, I really don't have a subject. It's sort of like MGTOW's here to stay, and they just have to get used to us being here this day. Uh, let's do a couple quick shout outs to the guys in the room. Hello, Red Pill Ghost. We got Victor in today, and he stopped by for a few minutes and just to say hello to everybody. And Red Pill Ghost maybe in later, and I'm waiting on some of the other guys. And let's see, I got a commercial running. I hate that. Don't you hate that how they start the commercials now? They're the ads. So what's up, everybody? And staying free, Red Pill, Coleman, Paul. Hello, Paul. Florida, 400-pound woman survives sexual assault by herd of manatees. Oh yeah, manatees are they're rapists, aren't they? Did you ever hear that one before? There was a lot of articles about manatees and their sexual drives. Dolphins too do that. They will take advantage of a human. But a 400-pound woman, I guess they got no.
400-pound woman. I mean, that might look like a manatee, I guess.
Yeah, it probably looks great to them.
They're like, wow, we can get some hot babe whale action going on.
Yeah, is that a manatee unicornuses? That were the what do you call them? The thirsty manatees. They had, they just took advantage of that. That's what happens in the animal kingdom. Oh, the animal kingdom is weird. Some of these analogies that we flip back and forth and in biology, pretty much. I was reading a Red Queen this morning, like I like to do once in a while, and just get back. And I was reading the section. The only real section on that is what was it he calls it? The chapter on monogamy that he does, and monogamy and the woman, and he goes down and he starts explaining that that this animal does this, and then this animal, and then he uses the one of those flies that has the scoop penis as an example.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, that's kind of a bad analogy, isn't it?
Well, isn't there another fly as well with like a barbed penis? And that like goes in and breaks off so that another male fly can't come after him. But then I think that kills him.
Yeah, it kills them. The snails have that problem. Well, you know what happens with the California snail?
I might be thinking of a snail instead of a fly. Maybe that's it.
The female mates with the male, and she has a long, it's about an inch barb, and she shoots it through his body, and the male can no longer mate with any other females, but it lives the rest of its life with that barb shot through its body.
Wow. I mean, how messed up is that? Like, hey, baby, you want some fuck? She's like, sure, but it's going to cost you.
It's going to cost you big. And that's sort of like being human, it's going to cost you big.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess there are some. If you take these examples as just analogies, and you kind of forget that we're talking about animals, and you use the ideas instead of the actual. I see so many people around YouTube. They go all critical on everything. And what do you call that when they don't take it as an analogy? They take it as a hard fact truth. Well, we're not this,
right?
Yeah, and it's like, oh, that's sort of nihilism.
I wouldn't really call it nihilism. I just call it more like, so from my perspective, humans are a species of primate, and primates are a type of mammal. So there are other animals that have traits that we can look at and say, okay, well, this is what some other animals have, and we are a type of animal. Therefore, perhaps there is a comparison. Perhaps there's an analogy. Whereas I've had other people say, well, that's just cuttlefish. You're talking about fish, man. Like, what the fuck? And I'm like, listen. You got to understand, this is a strategy that this particular fish uses, and so forth and so on. And they'll be like, yeah, but you're talking about a fish, we're talking about humans. And I'm like, excuse me. And my conclusion is, well, we can draw parallels between, say, the reproductive
Right.
strategy of a cuttlefish and male feminists.
Yeah, yeah, there's a lot of good comparisons. I like to use that jacata bird in Brazil. It gets cuckolded, and then the female flies off, and she destroys the egg of the other females, and then she pretty much rapes the male, and then the strongest female ends up with the children of and then what the male does is he sit there and he protects the nest while she goes out. It's like, oh, that's a simp.
Yep.
Yeah. Actually, and that used to be a big insult when I was growing up, in Mexico and down in Brazil. If you were like a simp male, before we recognized these things, they used to call you a jacata bird. Yeah, or they used to call it jacata.
Oh,
And it's like, and I know I never really understood it until I looked at the behavior of the cicada, and I was like, oh, that's what they're talking about. He's just a simp. He's the guy that's going to sit at home and take care of everything, and he's going to get his ass beat by the woman. Yeah,
poor
there's
things.
there's parallels you can make, I suppose. They're staying for you old ass silence. I don't understand that, dudes.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, yeah. So we got the usual base. We got 22 people, and John Kramer staying free. The usual guys around here. Yesterday was like, it's been an interesting week in, in the news and in the manosphere. Everybody's talking about the media, and I was really fascinated by when I look at PewDiePie and what they did to PewDiePie, and that was Disney and Disney Productions.
I don't know anything about this. I mean, I saw something. It was like someone is supportive of PewDiePie, and I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, that's nice. I don't care. And so I don't know. Could you summarize that for me?
yeah. PewDiePie was dropped by Disney Productions and one other things I can't remember their name for you know how he dresses up like the Nazi, and he gets they says that he uses anti Jewish sentiments and Zionism, and they didn't see the humor in it, so they dropped his brand from his account. And but what I thought was interesting is last week we had that attack on, and you got to know it comes right from inside of YouTube, where they well they cut his views in half, didn't they? He lost all those viewers, and when it came up, he had like 50 million viewers. And but before that, he had a lot more viewers, and then that was an attack from what YouTube was saying. We're just going to check all your viewers to make sure they're real viewers.
Mm.
You can see YouTube protecting their you know, their income and their funds and everything. They're paying PewDiePie millions and millions of dollars. They want to make sure that them are actual views he's getting.
Yeah,
And
I can understand that
yeah, they did.
from a business standpoint, you know. And I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah,
from
this
a
comes.
business standpoint, it just makes sense.
It
And
makes
let's be
sense.
real, if your viewers are legitimate, then I imagine they'd come back, right?
Yeah, they'd come back and there would be no problem. But I see this as all being like too timely. There are no coincidences most of the time in media and press and everything. And Trump is going on now about the media is fake. And I tried to explain that to people, that this just didn't start this year. It didn't start last year. It didn't even start in the 90s. It started in the 80s. Uh, with George Bush, and the first thing he did when he got into was the big six Viacoms and intercoms
Mhm.
were being sued by the seven Florida journalists on the same thing he's talking about truth in media. And we used to have back then what we called the 6 o'clock news. And the 6 o'clock news, the rules around the 6 o'clock news was you had to have 1 hour of truthful media on TV a day. And in the 80s, 60s, 70s, before that, that was the rule. But George Bush came in and he manipulated the press system. And Jeb Bush was in Florida at the time and running his stuff through the Supreme Court. They ran it through the Supreme Court. And what they essentially said is you don't have to tell the truth because the truth is subjective and it's your opinion. And then we got Fox Opinionated News at that point, which started covering George Bush. And it's kind of never went away since that. I think that was Els. You can look it up. Just type in feminist, not feminist, female journalist, 1980s. But that set the presence to this whole thing. And that was the Republican Party, which we see as now as the alt-right or whatever, the Trump Party. George Bush and Donald Trump are very similar in social status and party and on party lines. But them complaining about something they set in motion, some 30 years ago, 37 years ago, just seems like hypocrisy to me.
Well, the real irony here is Donald Trump claiming something is fake news, and the man's a master manipulator of just fake bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like it's total hypocrisy. But you look who wrote the original story on the PewDiePie now, and these things all link together. That was Fritz. That was his name, Brian Fritz. Now Brian Fritz wrote the book All the President's Men, talking about the media and how it was corrupted. So when he wrote that letter, I just watched Sargon, and these guys don't get it because they don't see sarcasm in this and they don't see irony. What Fritz was saying is, hey, I wrote this it was All the President's something. I can't remember the last word on that, but he was writing about media corruption and fake news. And this was some 20 years ago that he did this. And then he teamed up, and then he sent that letter to Disney about PewDiePie. And what he was saying in the whole thing was total sarcasm. He was saying, now look, you guys started this because Disney was one of the six intercom outlets back then that were being sued for honest news. And he says it was supposed to be sarcasm and irony, but the whole world doesn't get it. And I watched Sarkhan of Akkad take this thing, and I says what the letter was irony. And then now it's some big deal out there in the press, and what they're talking about was the original case. And now now what they want to do is they want to put the same people that gave you that original case in charge of fixing that. And what are they going to do? They're going to fix the hell out of that, okay? It's going to look like a post-war Nazi Germany where they just put media people in jail for perceived telling, you got to tell the truth and their idea of the truth. Not anybody else's idea of the truth. It would be their idea. So they want to go back to that day, that time, that gentler time of 1 hour of what we're talking about is logistical truth. Prepositional truth or propositional truth is, this runs to a true and I'm allowed to say it.
I think that there's due to the pressures within our corporate environment and the media and so forth and so on, I think that we've seen a dramatic increase in the rise of sociopaths created within the past 30 or 40 years. And so to someone who's a sociopath who truly doesn't believe that there's right or wrong and that there is only outcomes. And
Right.
if the desired outcome is capitalistic gain, then who the fuck cares if it's actual truth, or who the fuck cares if it's whatever? As long as you are creating a narrative, creating a something that you can spin and putting it on the news, and as long as people watch it, you're having success. It doesn't matter what it is. I think back a year or so ago, there was some picture that went viral on the internet, and it was of a dress, and depending on the optical illusion, it would either be like white and gold or blue and brown.
Yeah.
And that's completely irrelevant. But the fact was, this went on like major national news for like a week. Like, hey, look at this dress. What do you see? And because people perceived it differently, obviously an optical illusion, um,
It
people were
was
able to take this and run with it. This is, I mean, this isn't even news, and
no,
it was made to be a huge national like media event for like a week. And so I was sitting there saying, "Oh my god, this is psychopathy. This is sociopathy. This is just someone creating a narrative, spinning it into fucking absurdity, and having all the plebs be fascinated and entertained with it." And so that's kind of what I see with when basically anything like this happens. Um, I see people taking a social narrative that I see a sociopath or a group of sociopaths taking a narrative that other people will be interested in and reporting on it as if it's news when it's actually not, or fake news, or what's that one? Alternate truth. You know what
alternate
I
truth.
mean?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
funny.
So, God. And it's just kind of one of the downfalls of an extreme capitalist system where your only value is capitalistic gain, monetary gain.
Monetary gain, right? Yeah, and more power to them. We see this as snake oil salesmen around the internet all the time. Just type in foot pain or knee pain, and then you'll get holistic medicine for foot
Oh
pain and knee
God.
pain. You'll get a total video on that. They'll tell you all
So
sorts of things.
my mother is all about the, um, homeopathic
Yeah,
remedies and
homeopathic. Yeah.
tinctures and stuff. And so I just kind of, you just got to tolerate your mom. I love mom. So, but yes, I know all too well,
Oh
you know,
yeah, yeah. You
like,
get a B string, and she wants to put on ammonia on it or something, and it's like, oh wow.
or like, oh, well, if you're not feeling well, like you're sick or whatever, common cold, like, hey, try drinking some silver.
Try
No.
drinking some silver. No, because it's gonna turn me green.
Well, yeah, yeah, like blue actually, but yes. Go out into the sunlight, you're like fucking blue. Like we were talking about Nightcrawler in the chat earlier. Who was that? Saying free, Nightcrawler.
Stanford. Okay.
Yeah, John Kramer. John Kramer was the one who said it. You forgot Nightcrawler is blue. So you just walk out in the sunlight, you're all blue like Nightcrawler, like,
Yeah.
what's up, bitches?
What's up? Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, there's all sorts of what was I just thinking about? There was something on my mind I was gonna say. It was kind of funny. Oh, I forgot. See how I am. Uh,
Oh, oh. So Forrest Burns says something in chat that was remarkably interesting, and I'd like to address this real quick. He
okay.
says the dress gig was a Kantian experiment. All knowledge starts with our senses. This was fascinating to me because I think you've got a good point. Um, Kantian talked about sense data, phenomenology, and numenology, and
Okay.
how the human essentially constructs a model within their mind of what they perceive the outside senses to be. Uh, so and it's very similar to what Bertrand Russell talked about in his book, Our Knowledge of the External World. Really fascinating stuff. And so, yes, I think that what that dress did was really highlight that the way that the human mind perceives external reality is fundamentally not accurate. So then the question
Right.
becomes, well, how much not accurate is it? And obviously, I go through life saying, well, this chair is probably accurate enough. What I perceive as this chair is probably accurate enough for me to like sit down on
Yeah.
and not fall through the core of the earth. But so when we have things like media take an idea of this, just a simple optical illusion, really, and blow it. I don't want to say out of proportion, but use that to manipulate the psychology of the masses and have the masses so engulfed in a concept, whatever that is, whether it be Donald Trump's tweet about the shit he took yesterday or whatever, and to really control the minds of the people who are watching the propaganda and the um, alternative truth.
Right. Yeah. I think that was my video yesterday, because I've been kind of flipping this around in my mind all week long. like trying to figure out like what is actually going on in the social media versus
Yeah.
the media and everything. And what I see is a lot of like you were saying, this chair is sturdy enough to sit on, and that's just awareness.
Hmm.
Uh, and But what we try to delve deep into here is self-awareness. And when you start thinking about self-awareness, you start thinking about how you view people. And it's sort of you're sending a sight out there, and it's a mirror reaction. It comes back, and you view people as being people similar to you, and you can learn things about them. And then you become self-aware of your environment that you live in, and there's empathy there. When I look around social media, I see a lot of people that are aware of situational things,
Yeah.
but they don't have this sort of self-awareness of how that relates to them, and what they can learn from that. That's the secondary. Well, we call it secondary thinking. Uh, they apply it. They can look at any situation, and you can take any situation, whether you see a vagrant on the street, or a woman ill properly dressed, and you can learn from the negation on that stuff, and think back and like, okay, what can I learn from that? You don't have to just going off. And that's what I see in anti-feminism. They go off about, they're aware of what they're seeing, but they're not aware of how that influences them, what they see, how what you should see in altruism, and all the things that a male should experience as he matures. So there was a difference between awareness, just knowing that the doorknob, if you twist it, who's in the room, is that a person? They don't see people as people anymore.
I think it comes down to um, essentially how willing are you to develop the time and resources to develop an accurate model of the world,
Right.
right?
Yeah, the
And
worldview.
so there's a superficial level, well, not superficial, but there's the
Yeah.
very obvious level. What do I see around me? And then there's the, well, what does someone else see around them? And then let's
Right.
and then there's the models. Well, how do we model this? Which is what the scientific method and theory really does. It allows us to make equations to describe things that we see in other languages. So for instance, we take a ball and we drop it, we can see it drop, but then we can make the equation for gravity and say that, gravity basically equates to 9.81 meters per second.
Yeah.
And then take, so that's one example, but then, extrapolate to societal level, and look at things that exist otherwise in nature, like various other animals and the reproductive strategies that they use, and apply them to the human condition.
Yeah, yeah, like Newton's, the apple tree, the apple fell on his head.
Yeah.
What can he surmise from that? Well, that's force. And he came up with his equation of force versus distance equals, whatever it equals. I can't remember at this moment. And, it was a good analogy. Men do that well. Men do this with anything. Every time we view something, uh, what we're really doing is we're viewing things empathetically, empathetically, and we're trying to draw up a picture in our head, like that mirror. You're looking into the mirror. How does this apply to me? Is it good? Is it bad? Can I learn from that? Either way, good or bad, I can learn from something.
Right.
I was just thinking about that story I was trying to tell before about holistic stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
George Boll, you remember, you know who George Boll is. He's the inventor of modern logic, mathematical
Oh,
logic.
oh, bully. Yes, 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 yes,
Yeah,
yes. I
Boll.
didn't actually know when you said his name. I didn't, but then obviously in computer science, that's one of the bases of everything
Of
we do. Boolean
everything
logic.
we do. And yeah, Boolean logic gave us computers. It gave us everything in life. George Boll was one of the smartest men alive at that time. Do you know how he died?
No, I don't.
Now, this is fucking hilarious. George Boros walked to the university in the rain. It was cold and it was raining, and he caught a flu. He got home and laid in bed, and you know what his wife surmised? This holistic medicine we were talking about?
That he needed to be bled by leeches.
No, it's like that cold water would take out the cold. So she dumped cold water on him. he got pneumonia and died. The smartest man alive that was into bowling logic, the truth about, you can go take that and you can run syllogisms and find out the truth and everything. Couldn't raise his hand and go, hey, honey, maybe that's not quite the truth.
Oh man, the dumb bitch.
Yeah, she dumped cold water on him and he died. I always thought that was like, wow, that's one of the stories in life that, hey, but that's a woman. That she was doing the holistic medicine. That was her logic. That if you dump cold water on someone with a flu, that it'll take the coldness that gave them. And her logic was, it came from the cold, it will leave with the cold.
Well, that makes perfect sense. Why didn't I think about that? So I guess next time a kid puts their hand on a stove and burns it, we should just be like, oh, well, it came with the heat, so we'll just
We'll
fucking
just
put your
take it
hand
away
back
with
on
the
the
heat.
thing and your burn will be cured. Fucking logic, dude.
Wow. And yeah, but that was just a few, in the whole schism of time and everything, and the whole history of the world. That was only a hundred years ago, to 120, 130 years ago, I think. And man, that's the way people were thinking back then. Uh, we are evolving now at a greater rate. Sometimes I think this must be the time where Cro-Magnon man, met the what was the other man at that point, and they had the epic battle between who was going to evolve and who wasn't going to evolve. Uh, we must be going through something like that, similar to now.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. As far as it, so what was his name? He was a friend of Stardust's. Adam Jensen.
Adam
He's much
Johnson.
more. He's much more. I basically defer that kind of stuff to him because he works in the field. Um, I'm just not. I don't know enough about it to speak even remotely as an authority as to whether or not humans are still evolving or whatever. I mean, obviously, genetic traits have. I just don't know.
Yeah. What if we just do a simple observation of the 19th century, the 20th century, the 21st century, where we've come from and where we've, the average child now in the fourth grade is probably smarter than or at least they're doing the work to increase their mind, the cognitive functions now than an adult of college, of what you would consider college in the 1700s or 1800s.
Well, I'm not 100% certain of this, um, because as first of all, I mean, the simple knowledge that gets learned in school doesn't necessarily directly correlate to intelligence. So someone can be highly intelligent. Let's say an agricultural worker, someone who lives and works on a farm with their parents. They
Yeah,
could be very smart, but not necessarily have book knowledge. They might be able to, figure out how to make things or uh, devise solutions to the agricultural problems that they're having. But like if you sit them down and you're like, all right, so can you tell me, um, I don't know, what's something you learn in fucking fourth grade? Can you tell me what 800 divided by 57 is? And they're going to be like, well, I don't know how to do that. But if they're really good at figuring something else out, that doesn't necessarily. So I guess what I'm saying is intelligence doesn't directly correlate to education. So we can say that people are more educated in the fourth grade than they would have been at a certain
right.
point. But I don't know if that correlates to intelligence. And then you have the whole thing of, well,
Is it
in
just learned behavior?
is it learned behavior? And then you have, in America, basically socialized education system. So everyone gets an education, but not everyone has the same level of intelligence, particularly, when they go to graduate the high school. There are people who still graduate high school but are illiterate. Um, so Whether I guess my point is when it comes down to the actual genetics and uh, behavioral traits that
Yeah.
manifest from genetics, I don't know how much change has happened within the past century genetic wise.
Yeah, genetic. It's hard to measure. You can't see inside of people's brains, and that's one thing. We can do scans and everything for electrical impulses and stuff now, but that doesn't tell you. That doesn't tell you the soul of a person or i- it doesn't tell you their intelligence or what they can figure out. My one of my favorite examples was a man called Harry Rock. I don't know if you're I can't remember his exact name, but he started the Harry Rock company,
Okay.
and they pick up scrap is what they did. And he's a good example of knowing one thing well in
Hmm.
life. He uh, he started up picking cans up around after the 1940s and 50s. He was a black man, and he was picking up cans in the neighborhood. Then he got a cart, and then he got a horse on the cart. Then he got a truck. Then he did some work with Ford, and then he became like a billionaire collecting scrap from corporations. You know, the roll-offs, the big 40-yard roll-offs you see, and the truck comes up, and it's,
Yeah.
a couple, and they dump them at the steel mill, and that was his business. Weinberg did that too, and a couple of. But this was a guy that had no education.
Hmm.
Uh, he uh, he was picking up cans on the side of the. Essentially, he was picking up cans, but he had a proclivity to be industrious.
Hmm.
And we see this a lot in life. I see this with many people I know. They have one skill that they can apply very well to their existence on this earth. It doesn't mean they know biological, uh, evolutional, biology and stuff like that. They probably don't. But that one little skill that they have, they took it a long way.
Yeah.
And that's like the farmer. The farmer does a very good job at his thing. The proletariat, uh, most of us have one skill we do very good. And finding out that skill, that's the hard part, isn't it? In this environment where you're saturated and bombarded with all sorts of things that confuse you most of the time, that one thing you do well in life, the one thing you were born to, it's a mystery to most people.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I don't really have that much to add to that.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, obviously, like I said, we live in a capitalistic system, so the only thing that matters is making money.
Making
So
money.
you
Yeah.
find a way to make money, and you're set. And as this guy Forrest Burns, I don't know who he is, but he dropped some like gold in the chat.
Oh, what do you
Uh,
think?
it comes down to um, environmental resistance to develop abilities. Whoever has access to packed food has no need to develop hunting skills. Absolutely. So if you
Yeah.
have the skills to acquire money through picking up cans um, and doing stuff that way, you don't necessarily have to develop. You can specialize. You don't have to take. Um, you don't have to necessarily know how to grow your own food.
Right, right. And most people will never know how to grow their own food. Well, you can, gardens and stuff like that. That's always good to do. Just aid yourself with in your.
Hmm.
But most people on a large scale, that's very complex too. Now, you ever look at the harvesters now and the actual farm equipment now compared to the 1800s when McCormick made the first reaper.
I think these are just amazing. Like I, so I mean, nowadays you might have one farmer with robot combines
Yeah,
basically harvesting what would have taken hundreds of men months to do a couple hundred years ago. I mean, this is mechanization and just technological progress on a scale that I didn't imagine 15 years ago, let alone today.
yeah. It's all satellite controlled, and I got opportunity to go into one of these things once. I used to work for a farm plow company where I was working for the working through the furnace problems,
Hmm.
uh, the melt the steel and make the plows. Uh, And I actually got to go into one of these things, and then they said, "Well, you hook your satellite link up," and the guy was like, "We were on the farm to check out the durability of the plow in the field, because the last thing you want is a plow snapping off." And we were given 100% guarantees on these things, which is a different story about who is that guy? Case hardening and case steel.
Mhm.
But I was just totally amazed. You see this happy farmer in this Ford 70, and and that's what you see, and you get this picture of this happy farmer in a Ford 70 with the plows on the back. No, it ain't like that anymore. That thing drives itself. I mean, Haber Bosch, it sends a satellite signal. The satellite analyzes the field and the nutritional needs of the field, and it sends it back down there. And then as it's plowing, as it's de-weeding and everything, it's spraying a little fertilizer here and a little fertilizer here, and it's taking care of all the problems all by itself. And the farmer never even has to get into that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God,
Freaking amazing.
it's amazing. Yeah, I was drunk once, and most
Oh,
people don't.
this is gonna be good.
Yeah,
Whenever someone well, specifically you, Joe, when you start off a story with, "Well, I was
I
drunk
was
once."
drunk once, and I had to pee really bad. We were going through Pennsylvania, right around Upper Pomatuming. We were going into Meadville, and I, I just gotta pee really bad. I got out of the car, and my buddy was like, "Just go wander off into that field and just go pee." And the immense size of a harvester, until you look at it up close, is something to behold. Uh, I'm sitting there peeing, and all of a sudden I hear this noise rumbling towards me. And I looked up, and in like 12 feet in front of me was these thrashing blades that were about to kill me. And I just started running. I was horrified. I got back to the car, and I was like, I had this look in my face. I was probably white and terrified. And I was like, never go into the field. Never go into the field.
Wow. I knew it was gonna be good. Ooh.
Yeah, them things are. I was looking up, and it was higher than a house. It was like, and here it comes, and it's thrashing the corn or the grain or whatever it was. I didn't even notice what it was because I was so drunk. But but that was my day, and it's like, okay, I see. And there was no one in that thing. There was no
Yeah.
way to tell that I was there.
Oh man, that's hilarious.
Oh, yeah, some of the things we do when we're out road trip.
All right, so I pull out my pad here. Take notes. Do not go into a field while drunk to pee.
The
Got
P.
it.
That's your life lesson today from Joe. We hear a lot about farmers getting, they get out and they're checking on something, looking at just looking at the grain and everything, and there's a major amount of death in America and in a lot of countries with getting run over by their own equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, that's some of them stupid statistics. I was into that, like how many chainsaw deaths are in America every year. And you'd be surprised how many people go out into the woods with a chainsaw and cut their hand off and die. It's a
You know what the weird thing? Like, I have a wood furnace, and I chainsaw and I split wood, and it is dangerous, and I know it's dangerous. So I try to be really effing careful. But like, I don't understand why. I don't understand how do you die? No, I understand how you can die. I just don't know how someone wouldn't like respect it. Like, what do people do? Like, just trip and fall?
Yeah, trip and
I
fall,
suppose that.
kickback used to be a big thing with chainsaws, and then they cut their
Uh,
fingers off, and all of a sudden you're a mile back in the woods with your cart, and there ain't no hospital there, and you're losing blood at a serious rate, things like that. My God, you know what the second most one was?
I I have no idea. I wouldn't have guessed chainsaw death. So
Yeah, chainsaw deaths was like first at that time. This was back when I was looking into this thing. The second one was snowblower deaths.
wow, I would have
People,
like snowblowers. See, I can see like leaf. What are they? Mulchers. I can see like
yeah,
the mulchers because those things are terrifying. But snowblowers?
Yeah, snowblowers. The problem was with snowblowers is they had these gears and everything was gearing in the 80s and the 90s. And you'd get a pop bottle or a pop can or something stuck in there. And people would go around the front, they would see it and they'd reach their hand in there
Oh,
and go it out. But I had this happen to me with a washing machine once and a belt. I looked and I was like, oh, it's bound there. And I grabbed hold of it and unbound it.
oh, and it started right back up.
It flipped my fingers through the. Luckily, the belt was old, and my fingers went right around the spindle there. I was like, oh, well, that hurt. Yeah,
Yeah.
I could see how that. But that's the same thing with the snowblower. Is they and then all that back pressure relieves, and it flips the blade around several times, and there they go. There goes your fingers. Wow, wow. But this is, speaking about the honest news and everything, aren't these the things that we should be talking about instead of, what PewDiePie was doing?
Well, I think so. I mean, but the thing is, who from the news media is gonna be like, you know what? We need to stop talking about fucking PewDiePie, blah, 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 whatever the fuck his name is,
Yeah,
and we need to talk about seriously. Let's invest. Let's look at our journalistic practices. Let's look at how much we do fact checking. Let's try to examine and have a. So I don't know, like if you've ever watched any of the media stuff. So
yeah,
like either Bill O'Reilly or like any of those fools on Fox,
yeah.
or
That was funny.
on the flip side, anyone from like uh, MSNBC. What they do is they have their viewpoint and they're right,
Mhm.
and then they'll bring on someone from the other side to have a quote unquote discussion, and they're usually a bumbling idiot, and so the host has this worldview that they're convinced is accurate. They have on this other person who they're convinced is an idiot, and so the idiot will bring up something and the person will shoot it down. It's just they have this whole debate, but no one either a changes their side, and all that it serves to do is to reinforce the viewers, uh, preconceived worldview that they're right as well, and that
Right,
the other side is just idiots. So
right. Yeah, yeah.
Um, who in the media is going to call that out?
Who in the media is going to call that out? You know what? I think they should get some, in the media, there should be like guys like George Bull, guys, there should be electricians. You ever deal with an electrician?
I have actually. I took a year of electrical training.
Yeah. Uh, they're so solid on their logic. And the older they get, uh, uh, I used to know a guy that he was an electrician, and he kind of turned me on to this because I'm an electrician too. And I worked with him for years, and he was into Nietzsche, and he was like, and the other thing he did in his life was what was it? It was psychology.
Yeah.
And he says, you don't know how these things work together, Joe. Just watch people sometimes, and then you'll see the problem in what we're going to face.
Hmm.
Uh, and he was a psychologist, and he was this electrician. He had a big company, so he made more money doing the electrician. So that's the electronics. So that's what he did. But electricians do this strange. This is like what I talk about, the and, the or, and the not. That's the only thing that can happen in this universe. And that goes back to the 6 o'clock hour of news. Uh, the truth in the news. You have syllogisms and you have prepositional logic, propositional logic, and I like to use both of them, prepositional and propositional, because they're two different things. Uh, uh, it, and you got some guy there. You get this electrician. He'll go over what is going to be said, and he'll say, "No, that doesn't run to a true, and that doesn't run to a true, and that doesn't run to a true." And then you adjust it.
Hmm.
And that's it. What runs to a true and what doesn't run to a true, and giving both the two viewpoints that you were talking about before.
Yeah.
One's objective and one's subjective, and there's going to be the objective side, and then there's always going to be that side that says, "Well, this is subjective to my opinion." And
Yeah.
no, there's a truth in everything that you can find. There is one truth. And maybe the news should just start having more of these guys that figure out that one truth, the George Bull type guys. minus his wife.
Uh, so again, I think that sounds great in an ideal scenario.
Yeah.
Now let's be realistic, which is, in a capitalistic society, is that going to drive the views, or is that going to be outcompeted by
Well, yeah,
the sensationalist?
the
Um,
sensationalist,
the
but
sensationalist will outcompete, which obviously brings more money, which is the end result of the pure capitalist greed, right?
right,
And
yeah.
listen, I'm not trying to knock on capitalism. I love my
Oh,
capitalist
yeah.
society, but it does have problems, and this is one of them.
Well, yeah, that's a simple. We talk about this a lot about simple labeling of what this is. Uh, when you look at the Enquirer, the National Enquirer, you
Oh
open it
God.
up and you know what exactly that is. You can get some truth if you work towards these things. You can get some conspiracy if that's what you're into and everything. And that's that's a gossip rag. But and you know what? The Guardian actually is a gossip rag now too. But the Guardian has become the place to go to for news. But people should know that that's a gossip rag. I mean,
Yeah.
there should be some Fox doing like the same story is when I see Fox doing these people that are responsible, that are supposed to be responsible and accountable for the news, doing the same news as the Guardian. Something clicks in my head to go, no, these are two different things, and but they all think they're the same now, and that's where we get kind of screwed up there, don't we? We get majorly screwed up.
I mean, yeah. Like what
You know,
I
I
think
think,
these people, I think this comes down to the sociopathic
yeah,
again. Um, if your entire goal is to generate profit, generate capital,
right,
then who the fuck cares if what you're saying is accurate or true or objective, or
yeah,
maybe. And see, I have the mindset that I could be wrong. I could be wrong about
yeah,
anything.
and
Um,
I think you're
give
right
me
about
give
that.
me information that's objective and can be verified, and I'm willing to update my my model of reality to include that. But I don't think a lot of people are, and so they have a worldview and they just get locked into it.
Yeah. Now you can look at it in a small micro section of YouTube here. I
Mm.
like to look at Mgtow as we get to the bottom of things. We talk things through, and we try to get to that one truth that is the truth. Now, that's sort of the that's sort of the true news. What they're talking about in truth and media and everything is you want to get that news like from somebody that cares about that kind of news. Now we got the other side of this where it's just pooning feminism and anti-feminism and a feminism, and they don't care about the truth. What they are is they're the I'm going to make some money guys on this, and fuck it. Is if I can win out by sensationalism, and I believe perfect, that's it. But there should be a label between these two. But you will notice that MGTOW is not as popular because the truth sometimes is hard to swallow, and it is not as popular. So, but does
Um,
that make it any less the truth?
and this, like I said, comes down to, I think, people want the sensationalist. The sensationalist
Right.
sells, whereas the hard truth is kind of. And listen, I'm guilty of this sometimes
Bland
too.
and yeah,
Sometimes it's easier to just, what, let me go, I don't know, watch a how it should have ended video, as opposed to reading Nietzsche's philosophy. Like there's a time and a place for it, where I take the time to go and have some fun and enjoy some of the silly sensationalist type stuff. Um, and if people are only interested in a steady diet of the sensationalist and um, that's where really you get that's where people really run into issues, where they don't know anything.
yeah, yeah. Used to be a big hobby of mine, just going on to the internet or something, taking the story and kind of dissecting it and using that. see what was rhetorical, see what was where the rhetorical is, find the statements in there that were rhetorical, and find the logic statements in there, and separate them and see if the article ran to a true. I don't do that much. Orange used to do that a lot. He could take an article really quickly and go, no, there's some untruths in here, and there's some truths in here. And we used to have them kind of people around because it was a passion to them. But that job doesn't pay anymore. I don't think that job is not valued anymore. There is no job for that anymore. What do you call that science that they have? It's just logical fallacy science. The science of logic fallacy. Now we see this on the internet now, where I kind of giggle, and Messenger sees this, and Shining sees it, and I know you see it a lot, where they'll say ad hominem, or give me your criteria.
Are you sure about this? I think you're projecting.
Yeah, projecting.
Okay.
And they know a little bit about it, and they kind of hijack the coolness of it sometimes, and it's become very immature. And you see a little bit of people trying to work through that, because they got to know back in their head that some of these things that people say are just sensationalized. And I think that sits in the human brain. The human brain does 2.5 million syllogisms, and the average IQ person and the sub-average IQ person still does 2.5 million. It's humans are just smart, and the average moron does 2.5 million syllogisms in the head to understand things.
Mm-hmm.
But in back of their mind, when you listen to some of these feminists, and even some of the anti-feminists, with their points, in the back of your mind, doesn't it always stick that that's not quite true, is it?
Well, it's just because there are lots of calculations that the brain does per second doesn't necessarily mean that they're all intellectual calculations.
Yeah, they're not they're not doing the secondary thinking. There's a big difference between secondary thinking, and I can't remember the next level of thinking.
Yeah.
It's from our educational system too. We'll get back to that. It's bland, watered down, very subjective to PC now. Whether someone's feelings matter over the truth. I was looking at, what I was looking at the other day? It was kind of interesting when I was looking at awareness, and I was looking at the what was taught and what I had to go through when I was going to school, and when I was 11, 8, 9, 10 years old. The blue eye, brown eye experiment. That was Riceville. It came out of Riceville. I can't remember the lady's name.
I'm not familiar with this.
Yeah, Riceville, Indiana, or Iowa. Riceville, Iowa. There was a famous experiment that came out of Riceville, Iowa. And this teacher, she said, she went in front of the classroom, and she was trying to explain a bigotry, and to the kids, and they still do it nowadays. And I had to go through that when I was like 8. It was they were running these awful experiments on us, like little Albert experiments and everything, to see how we would react. And one of them was the blue eye brown eye experiment. You guys can type it in; it'll come up right away. It was in Riceville, Iowa, and what she had said is essentially like. All the blue-eyed kids were better than all the brown-eyed kids, and then they noticed their behavior on the school, where the blue-eyed kids automatically took dominance over. Then they reversed the stereotype and said all the brown-eyed kids were better than the blue-eyed kids, and because it somehow they equated it to what she did was intellectual intelligence, because you had brown eyes, you're smarter, and they noticed the behavior was the same thing on the playground.
It was the perception, though.
The perception, and they got right away. They went to a dominance hierarchy where we're better and you guys stand over there. The kids do these things, and yeah, that was. I was thinking about that all week. I can't remember what my point is now, because it was a minute ago, and I'm getting old. But yeah, that was interesting to look at those things and how they. But the press now, this was my point. You'll see that in the same vein, they say right now, you hear the feminists always echo now, like all white people are bigoted. And they'll give that experiment, the blue, but they never look at the other side of the experiment where the experiment was run on the brown-eyed people too, and they did exactly the same behavior.
Hmm.
But what you hear, the feminist view and the new view, I guess these are the Black Lives Matter and then all hate all white men thing is they'll take that and say by this experiment, yes, all white men are bigoted.
What are you gonna do, man? What are you gonna do?
Yeah, and they never. Well, yeah, all what they should be saying is all humans are bigoted. We have the capacity to do that once we get into the dominance hierarchy thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, if someone's below you, you treat them like they're below you, and that's from our social systems. Pretty much, the boss is the boss, and authoritarianism.
Yep. Well, hey, man, I'm gonna head out of here.
Okay.
So it's been good chatting with you. Shout out to everyone, Staying Free, Red Pill Ghost, Kramer, Howard Dare, and where was he? This guy Forrest J. Burns has like really said a few things in chat. Like he hasn't said much, but what he said I've really thought was profound, and I've said so a couple times. So who else am I missing here?
Yeah, you know how to get the active
Bruce,
chat window.
MA.
You click on those three dots on the top
Oh yeah,
there, and then down,
participants.
and then you'll get the new participants. Yeah, it's like
There
they
we go. Shingles Renee. Greg. Good to see you guys. Have a good weekend.
Too. Okay. Okay, thanks for coming in today, Victor. I'm left alone again on my podcast, and that's it today. Uh, let me send another invite out. Hey, Red Pill, you're back in. Red Pill Ghost is back in, and I know you might have wanted to talk. So let me put the red. Yeah, hey, you're first. There we go. I'll send you the link in case you wanted to come. And did you go to the video store, Red Pill Ghost? I was wondering if you said you were gonna manage that thing, go to the video store and get something. So we were talking about a wide variety of subjects. I love talking to Victor. He's sharp, and he sees things a lot the way I see him, and he's a good guy. And but we were talking about truth in the media today, and the hypocrisy of truth in the media. No video store. Red Pill says no video game store. Okay. Hello, Howard. How you doing today? We can remind him. We can warn him of the things to avoid. I don't know where that conversation was going. So I'll try to get somebody else in here and see if somebody else wanted to come in. And the news itself has been very interesting. You know what I do when I look at the news? It's just my conspiracy theory thing. Sometimes I just go off on if something really stupid happens in the news and we get these arguments where we got a lot of groupthink. Hello, Howard. And I always think that they're cloaking something else. You know, if Donald Trump and the Democrats and are arguing about if they're arguing about fake news, then you better watch out who's firing missiles over in Iraq and stuff, and you better watch out who's trying to slide something underneath the financial news, because that's the real news. That's where you're going to get the real truth. All this other garbage and this social media and that sort of stuff is just a cloak. It's like a hypnotist going, "Watch my hand over here," while they're stealing your wallet with the other hand. You know, that's sort of what the news is nowadays, and that's the sort of disturbing stuff that we get. So we got Red Pill Gaming, and now hello, Red Pill Gaming. How's your sound?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. Just doing a Saturday. I didn't know if I was gonna do it today. I've been telling you guys I've been fighting off an infection for the last few weeks, and I was feeling kind of down this morning, and Like,
Ooh.
I don't know if I want to do this. I said to myself, and then I thought, well, sometimes when I just work through something, it's good for me, and I get good results. So I said, well, I'll do it because it's my responsibility to do it on Sunday morning now, I suppose.
Is it a cold or flu?
No, it's an internal metabolic infection that I got. It's from it's my my kidney and it's a lot of things in life, damage from in life and stuff like that I have to go through. Uh, my
Oh,
and
okay.
These things happen to me, especially when I don't carefully manage my intake and liquids and stuff like that, and it's just yeah, just something from being poisoned.
Right. Yeah, I just came back from the video game store. I went up and I just went there to pick up a classic game, which is it's a rare find. The only way you're
Oh
going to find it is online, which I did not want to do because if I went to find this on eBay, it would have costed me more because
yeah,
there are some people that are actually selling the copy of this game, but they're charging more for it. They're trying to rip
yeah.
somebody off.
Well,
So,
they're the second tier. They're doing exactly what you're doing. They're going down to the video store. I can't remember what they call those, the video exchange.
right,
Every
but this is just a video game store. They sell old like
Yeah,
Nintendo systems, Sega systems, and such. They sell the newer ones too, the PS3, the PS4, Xbox One, but mostly they just collect the older stuff.
yeah, yeah. People are interested in that stuff. My son just bought I can't remember what he just bought, and the system that you could play the zombies online on, and he bought it specifically for that. So he went down to the used store, and somebody had given it up already. It's just a year old or something, and he bought it, and he got a few. You know, that's what he uses now, and that's the game he's interested in. Sometimes the game you're interested in takes a unit, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's something I've been into for many years. I've always been a gamer, so even still today, I still am.
Yeah, yeah. I try, but I suck at games. I'm one of these people that I get easily bored and easily distracted. There are people like that in life. I can't think like that for a long period of time. Maybe I'm ADD. I don't know. I just can't do that. And I like games, uh, but it starts to irritate me after a few minutes.
If I'm really in the mood, I can really get into a video game if I'm in the mood for it. But then there are the times, just like you, I get distracted and yeah, I get bored as well. So my
No,
secondary passion is making YouTube content and making
yeah,
videos to
yeah.
help other men.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good secondary passion. It's a first passion for me, I think, over the years. Uh, but it's good to do that. And my son can play video games absolutely for 12 hours a day. He's got the headsets. I got him the headsets, and he can talk to people and other people and everything. That's a social interaction too. Uh,
Right. So he does most of the online gaming
he
stuff.
does online gaming, the zombie online. They're trying to. He got the Easter egg the other day, and Uh, he was so happy about that. He was like, I got it. And I did it myself.
So, what did you want to talk about today? Is Shining going to be on later? I haven't talked to him in a while.
Yeah, Shining, I think he's taking a break. He's been having headaches and probably a little stress from too much Mgtow overload. And
Yeah,
he's been
I'm
around.
kind of feeling that way a little bit. I mean,
Yeah.
I might take a small break myself. I just been going at it, and I really haven't had time to do the things that I want to do, especially since I'm working on a 6-day schedule every week. I mean, just having one day off each week, that it doesn't really give you much time to do anything.
Yeah. Yeah. The schedule. My scheduling's always been weird. Uh, how I do things in life and what I prefer. I I do it differently than most people. It's a con that goes along with the way I run my life too. I have to con people into doing things my way.
Honestly, there's really not much I do each day. Each day I work, and then my off days or when I have time to myself, I either just play video games, I make YouTube content, or I just watch movies. That's it. I don't go anywhere. I don't do anything. I'm the kind of person that barely has any friends. I'm mostly live the monk lifestyle, and that's what I
Yeah,
do on a daily basis. Unless there's
yeah.
an errand I got to run or something I got to take care of.
I don't want friends because that leads to women being around, and that leads to problems in my life. That leads to bringing people in your life. Leads to having to watch people in your life. And anytime I've ever been affected negatively in the world, it's always who I brought, the mistake I made on who I brought in my life. And I have friends that I see that are old friends and everything, and we go out on the weekend and stuff. Get some wings and stuff like that. But no, there's
Yeah, see, I don't have that anymore.
you don't do that anymore. No, I still, for a while in Mgtow, I put all that away too, and then I started. Well, there's a certain enjoyment in that in my life. Going to the Hairy Buffalo with a couple of the guys and having a few beers and getting some buffalo burgers or some wings. I had to I had to taper down my Mgtow and my anger and kind of just let it go and try to find friends that were more Mgtow than anything, so they understand what I'm talking about sometimes.
Right, people that are how should I put it exactly? They have common interests with you related to into that field because you actually don't want to tell just anybody that you're a man going your own way out in the real world,
Right,
especially if it's
right.
the wrong crowd you're addressing it to. But
Yeah.
I don't worry about that.
Yeah.
I keep going. I
Oh, you
don't
keep these
associate
people
with
out.
anyone. I'm just like a shadow when I go out in public. I don't talk
Yeah.
to anyone. I
Oh,
just
I love
tend to my
that
own
too.
business.
Yeah, you just kind of get in, get out, and everything, and you just be the shadow. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's really irritating about with friends and with male friends and everything, like you are at the bar, or you're getting a few burgers, and you look over and like I'll be like, oh, she has yogurt pants on, and she's fucking dressed like a whore. And then if you're with that blue pill guy, and you're not alone, he'll go, yeah, and I'm so gonna hit that.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, dude, let me tell you about that right there. And that is going to fuck your life up. And I have a friend that he's rather blue pill. I just can't make him into a MGTOW. There's no way to do it, but he's been my friend all my life. And he keeps going through it like woman after woman, woman after woman, woman after woman. And we've been doing this for like 5, 6, 7 years. And at the end, it's always the same story. Like, she wasn't the one. I just made a mistake. That wasn't that horrible.
Yeah, now that you mention it, I have a friend that's like that, and I've been close friends with this person for years. Currently, he's seeing a Cuban woman that's a single mom, and I'm like,
Yeah,
dude, I keep telling you,
dude.
stop dating these kind of females. But I can only tell him to do so much. If he doesn't want to listen, and that's what he wants to do, then I mean,
Yeah,
I'll accept it. But I'm not going to do what he's doing.
yeah, yeah.
But
There's gonna be no double dating.
right, but I'm not going to completely cut him off. But I'm not going
Yeah,
to do what he's doing at the same time. I
yeah.
don't deal with those kind of females.
Oh,
But
yeah. You can go get some wings and stuff like that. Have a few beers or whatever. Go to the armory and shoot the guns or something. But I definitely don't want. You got to restrict your because it is irritating because it's always about the quest for the female and. Even in every bar, you start seeing the thing where, man, I come with you to this place, but I don't know if we're driving home together because you might jump right the fuck over me and leave with her, and then I'm stuck with the bill, and you just pretty much told me that my company is not worth the company of a piece of ass.
right, and I think anywhere you go these days regarding those kind of places, it should not be about chasing a female. And I made those same mistakes in the past. I used to be that guy that was the only reason why I was going to such venues like the clubs and the
Yeah.
bars. I would just be going to chasing women, but I realized, this is tiring. And I really have no purpose for going to those kind of places. That's really the only reason I used to go to those places, which I don't go to anymore. I mean, even the strip joints, hell, I
Oh
used to go to
God,
those
strip
places
joints.
too, and it doesn't work. It's a waste of time.
Hey, did you have a buddy that you went to the strip joints with, and he was like the guy that was like, I think she likes me?
Not really.
Not really.
I did have a friend that was going with those kind of places, but he's no longer here. He
Yeah.
actually passed away on 9/11. He died at
Oh,
28.
well, that's sad. Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, me too. It was totally unexpected. This
Yeah.
is real too. This really happened. I'm having a much tougher time now because without him, I feel more alone than ever. But it's something I've gotten used to because for most of my life, I've been a monk.
Yeah. Yeah. As monks, you can it helps when you can graduate into your monkness, even though that some days there's nobody coming around, and but that's sad. I have a buddy, lifelong buddy. We met when we were like 6 years old or something, and he's the blue pill guy, and I gotta expect that out of him. But I know this one. It's man, we used to laugh at him so hard when we went to the stripper joints. Like you're gonna have a relationship with that one, huh? She likes you so much, and I was like, dude, she likes them $5 bills that you give her.
Well, the difference with him is, see, he ended up in a situation to where he almost got engaged with a woman, but that is until he found out and caught her cheating on him with
Oh,
another man, and he ended
yeah,
up having 2 kids with her. And that just one thing went after the next. And during that time when he was still alive, I was actually teaching him the Mgtow philosophy, and I filled him in on some details related to the Mgtow philosophy. So in a way, I was kind of like his mentor, but I really didn't need to go that far. But he knew most things about females at the time. But
yeah,
when that situation occurred, it was more of an awakening to him, and it woke him up even more. So he was at that point after I shared my Mgtow philosophy with him. He was at the point to where, okay, I'm not looking for relationships anymore. I'm not looking for marriage anymore. He wanted to go more the direction of the PUA kind of
PUA.
Mgtow.
Yeah, that's
It was
generally the way
pump
those
and dump.
guys trend. If you're gonna give them a little red pill logic, then maybe that's the red pill logic they need. As much as we think it's silly, but some guys you're just not going to. You're going to drag out of that matrix. They prefer being in the matrix, and that's the lifestyle they prefer. But it's sad in a way. Yeah, yeah.
Right, which he had no intentions of doing because this woman that he still had to communicate with, because he wanted to still see his kids. He wanted to be there for his kids. He was a truck driver and
Oh,
he
good.
wanted to actually build his future for his children so that they have a brighter future and so that he has one as well. Even though he wanted to go in more the direction of just pumping and dumping, he had no
Yeah,
intentions of setting a relationship. He had no intentions of getting married at this point. That's how far he went.
right. Yeah, the white picket fence dream and everything. It's not unrealistic, and I like the way you put it. That his interests and lives matched up with their interests, and just doing that, it's sort of symbiotic relationship where I can get out of my life what I want through this too, and it is a symbiotic relationship. Uh, and it used to be good, and that's what I believed. I believed if I raised my kids, we endeavored through the hardships and everything with the woman, and we
Mhm.
saved. We would have that farm in the country, and the kids would be okay. And my dream was their dream, and we'd have wealth to pass down and everything. And it is a good dream. I'm not, I'm not saying that that symbiotic relationship doesn't work all the time. It doesn't
Right.
work. It works some of the times, and we found out that it's a lie. And most of the time, you end up with a sad buddy like him. That's a truck driver that's still trying to make it work and doesn't see the obvious fact that we live in a different world nowadays.
Right. And at that point, he just wanted to raise his kids. He did not want to be there for that
Yeah.
female at all. He didn't even want to deal with her anymore because
Now,
she put him through so much bullshit.
yeah. Now that's the thing about MGTOW that it bothers me a little bit sometimes that what we should be pushing for, the biggest thing that we should be pushing for is that 50-50 custody thing where you still get to be the father and you still get to, fulfill your dreams too.
Yeah, which she was not fulfilling her end of the bargain. She
No.
was in a way fucking him over.
Yeah.
There were times where she did not want to work with his schedule at all. In a way,
No.
she was being difficult with him.
Oh yeah, I know what that is. It's just you show up to pick up the kids, and I have plans, and we're going there, and your plans, even though the court said your plans were, the weekends. No, it doesn't happen that way in real life, and there's no one there to enforce that for you.
Right.
You can get it enforced by hundreds of thousands of dollars with a lawyer, but that's just taking your kid's future away from them.
Right, and he even showed me text messages as proof regarding how difficult she was being to him. So I know he's not lying. Of course he's not lying. He's not lying about this at all based on what he went through. But
No.
it was devastating when I found out he ended up in a motorcycle accident. He went too fast on an on-ramp and he crashed headfirst into a guardrail.
Oh, that's sad. I have a buddy that had a motorcycle accident and it depleted his brain functions, and he's laying in a bed right now in a nursing home. And he's pretty much a vegetable, and he talks like you can go see him, and it's like and he doesn't really recognize you, and you're just there for you. At that point, you realize that it's just there. You're just there for you because there's nothing left.
Right, and this is why it is important to us we're educating the men that we can educate, and so that they learn from us, because I don't want to see the same thing happen to them.
Yeah. I'll always, a lot of guys, they argue with me on this. Like motorcycling is the biggest risk you can put yourself in as a male, no matter how sexy it is to females, no matter how much it makes you feel free and everything. That's dangerous. That is dangerous.
Right, and I used to be someone who used to street race. That's even dangerous. But on a motorcycle, it's even more dangerous, which he was doing.
Yeah.
He was doing that kind of activity, and I was like, dude, be careful. And I was warning him too. I was like, you need to be careful.
Yeah. One of my original friends back from high school died on a motorcycle. Back in the day when the Kawasaki 750s came out in the 650s, and
right,
they're absolutely the fastest thing ever. He went and bought one and tried to see how fast it would actually go, and he died that night, and we had to pick up his body, which they buried him, and he was 6'7". They buried him in a coffin that was like about 4 feet, about a child's coffin.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, he had one of those kind of bikes. It was one of those speed bikes. I don't think it was turbocharged or anything.
Yeah, that was the same time the Ducati came out, and everybody wanted, oh, how fast is the Ducati? Well, you don't want to find out how fast the Ducati is.
No. Unless you're really careful, which, I mean, it's not 100% safe.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, even in a car, you don't want to be doing that because you just don't know what can happen. Anything can happen.
Anything could happen. It's not that you're being safe, and that's the argument that I put to these people. It's not that you're being safe and trying to be safe. I'm sure you are trying to be safe. It's that you got a million women in your neighborhood running around. If you live in a big city, they're combing their hair while putting on their makeup and trying to steer with their elbows. It's not about you. It's about them. That's where the major problems come in this society.
And it's funny that you go to that point, because the reason he got into all this, well, part of the reason it had to do with a female.
Oh, yeah, there's always every tragedy. I think there's a female somewhere involved in it. You just have to look sometimes.
Right. When he got back into the whole biking culture and the street racing, there was eventually a girl he came across, and he was doing all this for a female.
For a female, yeah, he was trying to be the alpha male, trying to be that guy that was, doing the cool thing. He probably seen a girl that was, attractive to him, and he's like, "That's what I want," one of those girls, and
right. And I used to be one of those guys because I was into that kind of culture, the whole street racing culture. The only thing was I had a four banger and my car was not turbocharged. It was just it was modified with different mods to make it a little bit faster. It was not the best car out there. I mean, but that's the only reason why I got into it was women. And I realized, it's a waste of money, it's a waste of time, and it's not worth it
Yeah.
just to get into a hobby just for a female. You don't. It's one of those cases to where you don't do things just to please women. You do things because you're happy with doing those things. And
Yeah. Now, if you're a responsible biker, sort of like war horses, he just likes to go out. He takes his bike to the local pub and get some burger and a beer and everything. Go home and you enjoy the ride and you're safe and everything. You're not doing it for a female. You're not doing anything risky about it and everything. Your chances are good. You're gonna fare well in that. But that's not the standard. Most men are doing it for because it is. It's because the women want the excitement, and they're choosing the male that is going to provide them with that most of that maximum amount of excitement in her life. But that maximum amount of excitement is usually risk, fighting. She's going to do the what do you call that? By proxy violence on other males.
right,
They wield those things. He goes into the bar all of a sudden with those sexy shorts on and everything, and another guy approaches, and she knows exactly what she's doing, and she's she lets him in a little bit, and then all of a sudden,
because she's in for the thrill. She likes
yeah,
the thrill and she likes the drama of the situation.
she likes the drama of the situation, and all of a sudden they're tournamenting, and that tournamenting will get very violent very fast, and she's assured that she has picked the alpha, but she's not assured that she's picked the alpha, so she wants to test that.
Exactly.
And I see lots of matter of fact, every time I go to the bar, I see this situation play out sometime during the night. And it's not like I'm making this up. I can observe this tonight if I wanted to.
I don't know if I can because I don't know if they still have that anymore where I'm located. I don't know if they have the hangout. I think the racing scene in a way is kind of dying off now.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
It's been dying off for the past couple of years. I mean, no one really gets into it that much.
Yeah, you can see it in other situations and other things, at the social clubs and everything, how they compete with the women. It's always the same dynamics, isn't it?
That's what it is, exactly. It's competition, which is why I got out of it.
Yeah.
I don't want to compete with other guys just for females, especially in that particular venue, which is why I got out of it. It got too expensive and it was not getting me anywhere.
It's expensive, it's risky, and we focus sometimes on the if you get her pregnant, your life is done thing.
Oh yeah,
that risk, which they are like, no, my penis doesn't do that. My penis doesn't get girls pregnant, and they're like, I have that special penis. And I'm like,
guys actually telling you that shit?
Yeah, that somehow they have the patented homeopathic way of preventing pregnancy, and that is the funniest thing when I hear it from men. It's like delusional to the max.
Oh my god, you're being serious right now?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
A lot of guys. You look at the young guys and talk to them around your neighborhood, and when you tell them that thing about, okay, you might get her pregnant, and he's gonna flare up a little, and he's gonna try to suggest to you that that's not going to happen to him, that he's that special guy. that's not going to, and then like 10 years later, you're like, yeah, look, you were that special guy. Remember saying that to me?
No guy is that special guy.
No guy is that special guy. Biology works the same way for everyone, and 1 out of 100 condoms bust, and women sperm jack. And you've been in sexual situations with a woman, and you're trying to do the responsible thing. After a few times, she takes that condom and she throws it across the room and says, "Let's get to it." And any guy is going to go, "Okay, I'm on."
And you know what? In a way, I get it with these younger guys. You know, if they're not, it's going to be much harder to wake them up because they still have not had experiences with women sexually yet. They haven't been out there like we have. You know, they're new to the game and they want to go out and experiment. But what they don't realize is they're falling into multiple traps, or they could
Multiple traps.
possibly get caught in one of the traps, and they're not going to know that because they're still young and they're still inexperienced. And it's going to be much harder for them. It's going to be much harder to wake those kind of men up because they're inexperienced.
Right. That's what we get with the PUAs. Maybe I do the analogy and I try to make it a little bit funny and a little bit, but the analogy is still, you don't have that special penis PUAs that doesn't make women pregnant. That's it. They don't have, but they will try to explain you 100 different ways how they're that guy.
And no man wants to have a child with the wrong female. I'm telling them they're going to regret it.
They're going to regret it. Yeah, that's a forced relation. You want to be in a, we hear the feminists all the time talk about being forcefully married. And we hear the examples they'll give of India and Nigeria and Africa and some small country in the south of South America that's still practiced, and that's horrible and everything. But they refuse to see that what they put us to is just forced fatherhood, forced relationships. So what's the difference? The system, if you get into one of those relationships and you get her pregnant, she sperm jacks you, you're being forced to be in a ritual relationship where mating laws apply.
Right, and it's going to be a relationship that's not going to make you happy because you're not going to
make you happy, right? So what they're saying, they refuse to see the other side of it, where they're just doing the same thing to us, and that maybe but this microcosm of this world news and everything, rarely does a woman get forced into marriage anymore. But if you apply the same logic, billions of men a year get forced into a marriage to the state.
Exactly. Which I don't see myself ever putting a ring on my finger. I prefer not to, because I'm more free that way. Yeah. I can do whatever I want. I can play my video games whenever I want. I'm not worried about how should I put it exactly? I'm not worried about catering to a female and just making her happy. Meanwhile, I'm not being happy because I'm wasting all my time making her happy. And this is something we talked about before.
Yeah, now we look at it like we look at it. And then our biggest, the biggest thing you're going to go through, sorry, I had to stand up because I was getting uncomfortable.
You're fine. I can hear you all right.
Okay. The biggest thing we have to go through as men in Mgtow is once we get to that point where it's, now what? I'm not doing this with women, is find something in your life that makes you happy. To find that thing in your garage that you want to build. Be the Tesla. If you are a Tesla, be the Tesla. If you just prefer gaming, that's fine. If you want to, be a woodworker, be a woodworker, because now you have that. Replace woodworking with the female.
Exactly. Just find your passion. Find what you enjoy doing.
Yeah, simply that's it. And like I talked about yesterday, not a very popular video, self-awareness and awareness. You develop, you mature into these things, and you become the person you want to be. And that's more important in this life than anything else. And Messenger was talking about in his last very good video. Everybody should go listen to that video, his last one this week, about becoming the person that you want to be. That's the end step. That's the acceptance into Mgtow. That's the place where you start looking at all those people out there as silly, and their friendship becomes less important to you. And
right. And if you put more of your time and your efforts and even your money into your passion, that's going to last a lifetime. But a female, that's not going to be permanent in most cases. It's only going to be a temporary thing, which is what a lot of guys need to realize.
Yeah. Yeah.
For example, I'd rather put all my passion into my video games for the rest of my life than a female, because for most of my life, I'm going to be honest with everyone, I've been with a lot of females, and all those females I've been with, did not last. But
Yeah, they never
my
measure up.
passion, that's always lasted. It's always been there.
Yeah, yeah. Men's your passion. Your men do these things. We work through. If you had seen, man, what I was doing in the garage this week, you would think, well, that's silly, Joe. uh, and I was, I was looking for a different sales outlet on this on a certain product, and I was putting this and this and this, and I was going through it, and it would look silly from people on the outside until, but that's my passion. That's what I do. Uh, I like to. If you're interested with what makes you money now with gaming, if you can start making money and still have that interest, that's a beautiful thing, because then you can do both of them at the same time.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is just a hobby to me.
Yeah,
I don't
hobbies.
actually make money off of it or anything.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe there's something else you can do with that too. I mean, there's a lot of other things you can apply to that knowledge. You know, the video ends. Like you went to the store today to buy a video that or a game that was outdated, but you just wanted to play. Now think of the million guys out there that just did the same thing. Wouldn't you rather be the guy that was selling them that game?
Yeah, possibly.
Possibly, yeah, yeah. Something like that would work out well. Uh, if you can negotiate that, keep that in your back of your mind. Uh, I have to give the example, and I know when I was growing up, there was a guy that he liked the GTOs, goats we call them. Uh, his thing in life was getting those blowing up 440 engines and then taking the shell, and he had a barn, and he'd park them all in the barn, and he'd just kind of forget about them. He got them usually for like $500 with a blown up engine. Uh, Now we all thought he was crazy. I was like, "What are you going to do?" And he had his like one GTO that he would drive around the neighborhood that he rebuilt and everything. And it was like that was a badass car. It had the wheelie bars and the big scoop on the front and everything, and it sounded like a monster. Uh, and
Oh yeah.
and that was his passion. That was what he liked to do. But you know what he did 5 years ago?
What did he do with those engines?
He had all those cars, and he had worked on them for 20 years and pretty much 30 years, maybe 40 years, 30 years, and he sold them all, and he retired.
So he rebuilt them.
Yeah, he worked out over a 20-year period. He went and bought this part and this part and this part, and did that on the weekend and did that, and he sold them all at once to one of these shows that they were going to do, and they gave him enough money where I was I was getting my coffee in the morning. I went into the coffee shop, and he was standing there, and he come up and he had tears running down his eyes.
Oh God.
And he's like, "Joey, I sold them all, and I don't know." He was standing there, and he says, "I don't know what to do now."
Retire happily and go your own way.
Yeah, I was like, you got it a shit like. He says, "Yeah, the money's not important." He says the money is important because I'm going to live the rest of my life on the interest from it. He says, and he was thinking ahead already, and it is like. But that passion was like he sold his passion off and everything, but he did it, and he's retired at a very, very young age. Comparatively 52 or 53 at a young age. It's just wow, you know. But you can do that. You can apply that same story. Don't go out and start buying old cars and put them in your garage or something. Apply that story to what you love, whether it be photography, uh, gaming, woodworking, and make that your thing. Because you're going to have one thing for sure and two for certain. You're going to have 30 years to do that.
Exactly. I know some guys are still doing that. They take older cars and they rebuild them and they sell them for a little more. They make some kind of profit off of it. I don't know if they're still doing that now. I know in the
Yeah.
past, I'm pretty sure there are still guys doing that though.
Yeah. You could if you like Timothy Blades is doing in his garage, he's got a truck there or a car and everything. He's not just doing it, he likes doing it. But there's some secondary thoughts about what he's going to do with those things. you know, uh, just make it make that your thing, and you'll be happier. And I'll tell you what, it's a lot less risky than making girls your thing, making scoring your thing. trying to
Right.
avoid
And you know
risk.
what? I'm one of those guys that's been there. If you're just chasing women or chasing pussy, it's a waste of time,
It's a waste of
especially
time.
with the whole online concept.
Yeah.
You're wasting a lot of time.
Yeah, if you want to do that, you could do that in one day, every couple months on Tinder, and just hey, hit it and quit it or whatever. I'm not saying that these guys aren't going to do that, but that shouldn't be your life's goal. You
Nah,
guys know
I
what
just
I'm going
prefer
to
to
say.
stay away from them completely. I don't even do it at all. I
I
don't
don't do
go
it
to
at all
those kind of
anymore.
websites.
Now,
I
you
just
guys
I
know.
stay away from them.
Yeah, you guys know what I'm going to say next. It says take $1 and put it in your right hand, and take all those experiences and put it in your left hand, and see which one weighs more.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, it's going to be that dollar bill that's going to weigh more.
Yeah, at the end of the day, what you put into your hobbies, your passions, your dreams, what you put into that over the next year will be that that dollar bill will become a ton of money.
Right. But it's going to be the complete opposite if you're wasting your time with women because you got to take them out on dates. They're going to expect you to spend money on them, which
Right.
it is going to cost you money no matter where you take them, like the movies or bar or even out for dinner. And
Oh
then
God, yeah,
other expenses with that female are going to come along. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah. I wish I had all those dimes back. Not the dimes to women, the real dimes. I wish I had every dollar I ever spent on something stupid like stopping at a motel, buying an expensive bottle of Ryan wine and some candy, and spending a couple $100 on the way home from the beach or something on something stupid as that. I wish I would have put that
oh,
money in
I
the
know, man.
yeah.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, you think about how many times you did that in your life. Okay, we're gonna stop at Applebee's. There's a $60 bill. You know,
Yeah, I prefer not to go back. That
yeah,
being one of the reasons.
yeah. I hear the stupid, the same. My penis doesn't function like that. Guys are gonna tell you that somehow their economics doesn't function like that either.
Which we know is bullshit because it does.
Yeah, it does. All women are the same. You're out with a woman, and don't try to lie to me, PUAs. It's going to cost you 120 bucks every Friday and every Saturday night, at the very least. At the very
And
least, if you're doing a cost benefit analysis and says you got that down to like 13 bucks or something, you're a fucking liar.
this is something I said before. I mean, these guys, these PUAs think they're playing the females, but what they don't realize is the females are playing them.
Females have been playing men for a million years.
Yeah.
We're figuring it out now in 2017, like we've invented something. But no, female gaming has been installed in females evolutionarily and Messenger will say this like flat out. If you think that, you're gonna get fucked, because females evolutionarily, it's in their fucking biology to game men. They've been gaming men forever.
Right. And all these guys are doing is they're doing everything the woman wants them to do. So basically, the woman has complete control, even over these PUAs.
Yeah, I like what was the guy we had on a few years ago on the Christmas edition. He told the story about going to a party, and was it the ape? He used to use Angry Harry's ape. What was his name? I
I
can't
wouldn't know
remember.
anything about that.
Yeah, I think you were in that day. But he tells this story about he was at a party, and there was three women sitting on a couch, and I love this story because it tells you, and he's making a point about all women know each other, and all women know exactly what other girls are doing, and they're gaming, and this girl was sitting on a couch, and she was newly single or something, and there was four guys out, they're having their beer, and this happens daily. You can imagine this situation, because when you're young, you're in this situation almost every weekend. The girl kind of yawns and she goes, "Oh, you know what? I haven't been on a vacation for such a long time." And one of the guys' heads lifted up. He had a pocket full of money, and all the other two girls, and they knew exactly what she was doing. She was gaming, and she wanted a little excitement in her life. That boy to take her out, and uh, it- they
Don't
giggled.
tell me he did it.
Yeah, yeah.
No, he didn't. He did. Oh God, he did.
He noticed that was, but what his point was behind that thing. He looked at the other two girls, and the other two girls were snickering at the guy that fell for it because they knew exactly what they were doing.
Oh
And if you talk to
God.
that guy, I'll bet you today he's the guy in the stripper bar going, I think she really likes me.
You know what? It's ironic that you say that because I used to be that guy like when I was 18 years old.
Yeah, yeah, we all used to be that guy. I think she really likes me. She's not gaming me. I'm gaming her, because she likes everything about me. No, she doesn't. She's
No,
got yeah, she's got a plan for you.
it's all an act.
It's all an act.
It's all a chameleon act.
It's like, I mean, yeah, she got, the other girls know it too. If you ask your mother, if you don't believe it, ask your mother, ask your sister, ask some girl, like, hey, are these women play game me? And they'll giggle and go, you don't know that?
That's the thing. See, that's the thing I don't understand about these PUAs. Yes, they are learning techniques and skills, but it's just to pick up women. But
Yeah,
the reality of it is these women are still controlling them because they're doing everything for that female to please her, to make her happy, which these PUAs don't see. They're basically becoming men. That is not really them, but they always they're always hypocritical about it because they always say, well, I know who I am being myself. No, you're not, because you're doing all this shit just to please a female or
yeah.
many females.
You know who the king gamer is? And I laugh about this all the time when I think about it. Roosh. Roosh is the king gamer, and it's not because he games women, because he gamed a million guys into buying this fucking program that he's selling.
The King Gamer?
Yeah.
Is that his
Roosh.
new name now?
No, I just use that as a analogy. He's standing up in front of those guys giving these courses that he does and everything, and telling these guys, and he's got to know that back in his mind that I'm doing this for business. I'm doing this for that's because this is what I do. He's actually gaming the guys. He's not. And these guys thinking he's going to teach me all about women. No, dude, he's selling you his fucking book.
I really don't pay much attention to him anymore. I
I
don't.
don't pay.
He at a point he did kind of lost me. I think it had to do with his whole neo-masculinity philosophy and how he was saying he was the creator of the red pill.
Yeah,
He totally lost me there since
yeah.
then.
You can assure I was around at that time. I seen what happened, and he didn't invent the red pill.
No, he did not. No.
No, no, he didn't.
No.
Much as
Just after that, he completely lost me.
yeah, as
And
much
I
as
stopped.
him and Fetal Bogan and Aaron Clary and all those guys like to take credit for that. It was an organic movement, uh, and there wasn't one guy. There was a lot of guys that just kind of got together and started talking that way. And you can't say this guy did it and this guy did it and this guy did it. It was all of us at that time. We just developed a language.
I heard it was actually two people that came up with the whole MGTOW concept, but it happened back in, what was it, 2002?
2004 is when the actual Mgtow page opened.
It was
But
okay. It was 2004.
yeah, but you got to understand, and a lot of guys weren't around back then. I was, unfortunately, sorry. Uh, it was a dynamics we were flipping these things off of each other. Everybody was talking about it. The matrix concept and the red pill concept and everything, and we were looking and searching for an analogy that, because no one had ever told the boys and the men about this stuff. So we were just, before that there was the Mesopoetic era, and the Christians were trying to fix marriage, and there was Bill Blair and the Million Man March and stuff like that, and they're all feeble attempts at at trying to explain what was going on. And the internet assisted in this thing dramatically, because if you can go back, which you can't, and you could watch the threads. It wasn't. We didn't have videos. We didn't have YouTube. We didn't have. We just went to a place like one of the examples was Spearhead, or the Hawaiian whatever that was at the time, and there was other threads and blogs, and all the guys were talking about it. And then we do what we were doing in text. What we do here, we were working something out. And
But
at the end,
instead, now we have a platform to where we have an actual voice and people can actually hear
right.
us.
Yeah, that was the great thing about YouTube. It gave us a platform. The platform back then was forum threads, and Mgtow kind of developed organically from those forum threads. If you're a bright young man and you're watching the forum threads, and you're watching if you're watching after 40 guys got done arguing about what this meant, there was an answer at the end of that. And the answer always seemed to come back to Mgtow. But we just some guy needed to name it, or, and he did. So
the connection with men going their own way, it has greatly improved, especially with the way YouTube has improved on their platforms, because now we have hangouts, we have live streams we can do, we can have group chats where we can come together and discuss many different subjects and issues related to men. And back in those times, when YouTube even first started, we did not have that.
No, there wasn't. Yeah, there wasn't that thing where you the forums were about there was Yahoo forums that you can go talk on, and there was what used to be WordPress forums, and then you could get that WordPress thing going. And before that, I can't even remember what the forums. They were just the black screen with the DOS forum, but men were always been interested in it. But the internet in itself gave everybody connectivity.
Exactly. That's the beauty of men going their own way.
Yeah,
in a sense, we're not alone.
Yeah, I remember we weren't alone. For the first time, you weren't trying to explain to your blue pill neighbor that you were having these thoughts about something's wrong with the mating system. For the first time, even it's always been the same from the first computer I owned, that Dell 436 or whatever the fuck it was. I can't 468 with the black screen where you're talking with the white letters. And there was three things that people were arguing about. It was atheism, religion, politics. Atheism, religion as one, politics, and men's rights. I remember getting in some of these forums and go, man, these guys sound, and that's where guys like Angry Harry started taking foothold, saying things a little bit differently, saying things more aggressively. So it developed that way. It was very organic. There wasn't just one guy. That was, that's narcissism, isn't it? That Roosh displayed.
Yeah, if you really think about it, yes, it is, because I know he is not the original creator of the red pill.
Red pill. That's like George when what was that that political pundit that said I can't even remember his name. Al Gore. He's like, Al Gore said he invented the internet.
I really haven't watched much to Roosh. I really don't know what he's been doing lately.
Yeah.
I don't pay attention to his channel. I really don't watch much because I've been busy with my own things. I mean, I'll watch channels here and there on many different things if I got the time to do it, but most of the time it's just focused on my things.
Yeah.
Really, whether it's video games or even my own content.
Yeah, sometimes in my content, I go out there and I look for someone that quantifies a point that, and there's millions and millions of articles now. Someone quantified a point the way you want to display it within that idea that you had that week or that day. That's always good. Now you can do that, and it's always good to write down your stuff and put it. If you quantify a point in such a concise manner, write it down and put it on your blog. It's there forever. It's there for men to look at and use.
Right. Just don't keep deleting your channel like I've been doing.
Yeah. it's good that we can verbalize these things now, and that was a hard skill to do. None of us. None of us were studio broadcasters with that perfect voice and that Papa Bear thing. I didn't go to broadcasting school, and how it's just what we do. It's a hard transition to make sometimes, but I love the forums where like you and STM and Legend and even back when you were doing that thing with uh, I won't say it, but because it'll give you away. Uh, uh, you know, it,
I
it
mean,
just
anybody can do it. You don't have to, and you're right. You don't have to have a certain degree to do this kind of thing. This is just from my own self-teaching experiences
yeah,
related to the videos that I put out there and the different subjects that I come up with. I mean, this is all self-taught.
yeah.
I
You
didn't go
self-taught
through any college courses, and none of us did.
Yeah, the first time I looked at a video editor was, it's like, fuck, this shit's hard. I didn't go to school
Yeah, I know.
to make movies.
I had one person that showed me the ropes related to the video editing software because the one I use right now is actually Cyberlink Power Director 13, but the only problem with that software is it's going to cost you
Yeah, yeah,
unless you find a way to pirate it, which I did not do. At first I did, but then I wanted the actually full functioning legit software, so I just said, "Oh, okay, well, hell with it. I'm just going to purchase it." So I actually have a permanent copy of it.
yeah, yeah. And a little advice for guys out there: get yourself the free copy if you're going to do this thing. Get yourself the free copy of the Microsoft Video Editor, and then the Power Link. Get yourself a copy, the free copy of the Magix. Get yourself a free copy of the Adobe, because we all think differently, and the language that each thing uses may differ in your idea of how to use it. So if you view over all of them and you decide that, oh, Adobe talks like I talk and I can understand what they're saying, that's important, because then they're all the same. What's that program? Avist. They're all based on the original Avist program. They all do the same thing. They all use timelines. They all use drop and drag technology. They all you have the window where you can view what you're doing in certain ways. Some of them vary in the way they present things to you, but use that one that you understand. Search for that language that you understand, and that's the one that's for you, because they all basically do the same thing.
And there are going to be different programs, so they're going to work differently for us
Yeah.
because each program has a different layout somewhat.
Yeah, if you look at, say, the Magic's layout, and you flip to the timeline and you look at the Cyberlink or the Adobe, it basically looks the same. You got 32 to 64 timelines to work with, and the capacity of your computer to mix these things down. That's where you're gonna, get stuck. Most of the time, whether it's 64-bit or 32-bit, but they're all the same. But they just present it just slightly different. That's important. Just to look at the one you understand, the way you visualize the concept of doing it, and that's the one to choose.
And these programs, they've greatly improved because the first one I knew of really was Windows Movie Maker, which is what I started out on many years ago.
Oh yeah. There's they got these subroutines in there that if you take you could take, for instance, you find a cartoon character and it's got a white backdrop. Now you can go to that subroutines now, and you can remove the white backdrop, steal the you could do this in Avid, you can do this in Adobe, you can do this in Magix. Most of them will do this. Cybertech, they'll take the white or the back out. You can outline it, cut it out, and then you got these little things. That's where they're almost animators too. That's where you start getting into these really difficult little things. You're dropping these your time marks in and moving it a little and then spinning it in, spinning it out. You can learn how to do that stuff very efficiently from these things, and they all have that kind of it's if you want to spend that kind of time, but it will be time consuming. Everybody knows that. First thing that I hear from everybody that gets a video editor is the big scam with video editors is this is so easy to use.
Yeah.
And it is, if you use that one, if every one of your videos is going to be that, what do you call that? The photo option one, where you can just put 10 photos in, you click the button, it puts a song behind it, you add your what you're saying, and that's it. That's all that, that's easy to use. They make that for people that want to present a disc to their mother on Christmas of the family events during the year. So it's easy for some, moron to use. If that's the big scam, when we get into it, you might want to grow with that program. I just did that myself. I bought the better, the better, and now I'm struggling now. It's like, oh shoot, this isn't better at all than what I had, because it's all the same shit.
I like the program that I use now, which I've been using for at least a couple of years. It's a really good program. I got used to using it, and I'm comfortable using it.
Yeah, that's you get into
a program that's not going to fail me.
Yeah, you get into your comfort zone, and as you get into that comfort zone, you start learning little tricks too. So I just bought the 2017. I'm getting ready to erase that and go back to the 2014 now. Because
I still got the 2013 edition of Cyberlink. I'm not gonna update it.
Yeah, I found out that the update was a scam, and they weren't giving me what I thought they were giving me. There was what I was looking for is the red giant and the blue giant, the titler, and the how you can take a movie and kind of when you look at what's that great movie from the guy that plays in Triple X, where he's got the light up eyes, but you can see in the dark.
Oh,
Kills
I know
the
it's not the
monsters.
first one.
Yeah, how in the desert scene everything looks kind of red.
I don't even think I've seen that one.
What was his name? Black, something black.
Vin Diesel wasn't in that one, was he?
Vin Diesel was in that, yeah.
Oh, he was in it.
Yeah, and he plays the sort of space guy that's got these abilities. Pitch Black, yeah. Now the last, how they turn the desert into that like hostile bear, and I could take it if I took a scene from the local steel mill or something. I can add that, and I was always, I got to get this. I got to get that. Yeah, Riddick was it? Yeah, and I wanted to do that, and I was like, and I bought this program, and it was red something. And it never did what it said it was going to do. And
oh God,
I was like, oh, I'm so disappointed.
I could not update my software because usually with these programs, there are some updates that just, a program is just fine without updating it. But in some cases, when you add that update to it, it totally screws it up.
It totally screws it up. Yeah. Now the 2014 will still update to this, and they'll give me new stuff once in a while, and it fixes all the glitches, and it gives me one thing: when it screws up, it gives me the option to hit the update, and it has a repair system on it, and it repairs whatever was wrong. But the new one I bought will not repair.
Oh, jeez.
And it's like, oh, how do I do this? Now I got to close down. Everything I did was lost. I got to close down. I got to reboot. I got to bring it back up and see if it repairs in the Microsoft.
Mine does that on a rare occasion. It'll get an error, which is why I save my work frequently.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Each
save
bit and
often.
piece that I add to it, and then next thing you know, it screws up, and then you get an error pop-up screen, and you got to contact
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you know where I'm getting with this. You got to send a
oh, you got to go talk to the people you bought it from.
or send them the technical issue that you experienced. I usually get one of those. I get it rarely now. I don't get it as much now with this software that I've been using.
Yeah, no, Some of them will update that and do a really good job getting you back to where you're supposed to do, and some of them won't. I like the 2014 Magic works great with that. I just hit the button. It puts everything back where it should be. No matter what I screwed up, it's like the old Microsoft system where I could just say, okay, I screwed that up too much. I'll go back till like Friday. Yeah. But some of them do that. Some of them don't. That's important. You get something that repairs itself. It has a repair program. I don't have that anymore. I'm getting really, really frustrated with this new expensive system. I'm about to get rid of it or put it. I'm about to compress it and put it, in a file.
Away.
Yeah, I'm gonna store it where it can't harm me no more. Oh yeah. So we that's our important video editing information.
Yeah, I have nothing else to discuss. Think I'm gonna get going here, but I appreciate you inviting me to this chat, and it's always good talking with you, man.
Oh yeah, always good to have you. Good to have you around, and always you're good for the guys. And thanks.
It's what I do best. I'm just trying to help other men out there.
Yeah, that's what we try to do. We had a good conversation about girls.
Yeah, it didn't go into the whole YouTube drama stuff, which I'm trying to stay away from now. I really need to focus on my own work.
Yeah.
We all do.
We all do. We all need that, and that's what Mgtow's about. Moving on and becoming the person you always wanted to be, but society restricted you through some means of gynocentrism.
Yep.
So
I don't even know when I'm going to make my next video because I'm not sure if you're familiar with the site. Are you familiar with vidme.com?
VidMe?
VidMe. I pronounced it wrong.
Oh yeah, VidMe. No, I don't think I've ever used it.
It's a new video sharing site. I think they just made it as of this year. And that last stream that I did, I was trying to upload it, but I actually made a mistake because I did not get my account verified yet. And if you don't verify your account, it has a limit to what you can, for the minutes you can upload, and it's only a 30-minute limit, which as of right now, I cannot upload that stream, unfortunately, to that channel right now until I get it verified, which I'm still waiting for them to verify it.
Yeah, I was looking at one of those because it was interesting and they had a lot to offer as for common, Creative Commons and stuff. But that was the big problem. It all depended on how much money you were willing to spend. And,
it's not VidMe doesn't do that. It's a completely free website.
Yeah, you could
completely free.
Yeah. Yeah, what the best video editor is? It's just amazing that it's a free video editor out there, and a lot of people don't use it. That Samsung, you go get yourself a Samsung pad.
I never heard of that one.
Yeah, and there's a video editor inside the Samsung pad. You can get yourself the 3 or the 2, and it's a great video editor.
I haven't looked into many of the programs. I think what I need to get again is I know I'm going to need the Bandicam because I am thinking about bringing gaming content back and even movies, like do a movie review, whether a game or a movie is Mgtow or not. Yeah. I know it's a silly concept if you think about it, but it was an idea I had for my channel. Just something I can do that's somewhat off topic.
Yeah, it's entertaining. You don't want to be going to a movie and not be well briefed if it's going to irritate the living bejeebers out of you. So
God, the movies that they had now. Star Wars Episode 7, I'm sorry, but it was very disappointing.
It was disappointing. There was only maybe one Mgtow moment through that whole thing, and it was about a 5-minute section.
Really? I
Yeah,
really didn't notice it because most of what I've seen out of the movie, it was just nothing but political correctness.
yeah, yeah. There was the one when Monk. They were in a. They were taking cover in the spaceship, and then the black guy, I can't remember his name. He didn't believe in the Force.
Oh, Kylo Ren?
Yeah, and then the monk was like, okay, he just jumped up out of there, and there's all these laser bullets flying by him, and he was like, I believe in this, and I believe in this, and I believe in this, and he's like, he made it to the button and he pushed it, but he actually got shot, and that was like a Mgtow moment where the other guy seen the red pill, he's seen what he was saying. I thought that was about the only Mgtow moment, and then Calderon, if that was his name, jumped up and he said, I believe, you know, and it started
I, s-
working for him.
I somehow missed that. I
Yeah,
missed that part. I
it was
saw
during
the whole movie. It's
yeah,
just
the big
it
battle
completely
scene.
threw me off. It
Yeah,
was not like the older Star Wars movies, which I liked a lot better. It
yeah.
seems like a lot of movies have been going in that direction.
Oh, yeah. They really the writing in that was so awful. Me and Shining was talking about that one day. The whole writing was it was like they copy and pasted the writing from the original ones and put it on there and then made it gynocentric. It was like cheating almost.
Yeah, well, you know why it happened that way. Disney was actually the creator of that movie. George Lucas had nothing to
Yeah,
do with it.
yeah. George
From what,
Lucas had nothing to do with that, and
you know,
he just went and studied the scheme or the theme of it, and then just kind of copy paste, and there you go. There's a movie for you.
which did not work out very well.
With a strong, independent girl figure. Oh, imagine that instead of a male heroic figure.
Speaking of which, I did not even bother to watch that new Ghostbusters movie. I can already tell that movie is just
Oh,
a
they did the same thing with
disaster.
that one. They tried to steal from everything that preceded them, and that's what they did. They just did, and it was cringeworthy at points. Don't watch it. The three girls when they get their lasers or whatever they are, and then they're in the New York streets, and then they try to relive that moment where Bill Murray and the other Dan Aykroyd and where they start running down the street with the lasers, and then they show these three women that could hardly fucking run, and it was so like cringeworthy. It was they ran like girls, and it was like, oh, oh, I just seen a fat girl emaciated trying to be skinny girl and another girl just running like girls trying to pretend that they were Ghostbusters.
Just I didn't even have to watch that movie just to tell me it was gonna suck. Just seeing the trailer
Yeah,
alone told me that movie was gonna suck, and it's a complete ripoff from the original. What they did was they replaced the all male cast with all
yeah,
females.
yeah. That's all they did is they do what girls do. They they co-opt the ideas and they don't invent them. They just they mimic.
Right, and it's like, does Hollywood really expect me to watch this garbage? It's not even a man's movie.
It's not even a yeah. Bill Murray was just like Bill Murray said that he was going to come on the next Sharknado and protest of what they did to his masterpiece.
I honestly don't blame him if he does.
Yeah, I was like, cool. Bill Murray would be great. And then they screwed up Sharknado in the last one. They made it into gynocentric family scene.
Sharknado, isn't that supposed to be one of like those cheesy horror
It's
movies?
the cheesy horror movie. It's the best cheesy horror movie.
I wouldn't know. I saw a cover for it when I was downloading movies, but I didn't even bother to download it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The third one with oh who's the guy from Baywatch that had the horrible divorce when
David Hasselhoff?
yeah, David Hasselhoff, and he's on the moon fighting sharks on the moon with a with
Oh
with a
God.
chainsaw. Now that is just cool. You know, if you're fighting sharks with a chainsaw on the moon in a space outfit, that's the ultimate in coolness.
God. Kind of reminds you of a metal music video.
Yeah, yeah. No, I love the movie 3,000 Miles to Graceland because gun wielding Elvis is robbing a bank is just fucking cool.
Elvis robbing a bank.
Yeah, robbing a casino. Yeah, gun wielding Elvis is robbing a casino is just cool. That's man stuff. If you ever get a chance to watch, I don't know if you guys watch that 3,000. That's one of my all-time favorite movies. 3,000 Miles to Graceland. It's Kurt Russell.
I honestly really haven't watched that many new movies. The newest one that I watched recently was The Blair Witch.
Okay, I tried to watch that the other day. The new one, which is named something
Yep.
differently. Yeah, I can't remember what they named it. There was a subtitle to the title, uh, and I just got about half hour into it, and I was like, nah, not for me. It's
It's
when
not
the
Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2. It's the
yeah
brand new one.
yeah
It's
the
just
brand new one with the two teenagers that go to the guy's cabin, or they take him back in the woods, but he's some he just turns out to be a ghost chaser or something that was making YouTube videos. I think maybe.
right. Um, and close to the end of the movie, in a way, they show what the Blair Witch actually. No, it
Was.
wasn't the Blair Witch. It was the Blair Witch's one of the Blair Witch's servants.
Oh yeah, and then the forest comes back to start. Yeah, I remember kind of half sleeping, dozing off on it, and then the actual forest itself comes back to start haunting and killing the people. I think.
I don't know about these new movies anymore. If it's a real good horror movie like that one, I'll get into it. But movies lately, they either make them so gynocentric or they just make the male or male characters just totally sissified.
Totally sissified. Yeah, that's a big thing to do. Has having like six hot broads, trying to be manly. It's like B movies. I think that somehow that they've tapped into the blue pill males' simpishness, and
Right. And back in the day, like I'd say at the most back in the 80s, you didn't have movies like that really, to where
yeah.
the guy is just so dumbed down and they make
Oh
the
yeah.
females like very strong and independent or the
Yeah.
protagonist.
Yeah, they veer from the motif too. The they veered from the horror movie motif where you kind of expect them to do stupid things, and when the girls she loses her shirt and she's running with her breast out, and then she falls, like she's gonna fall, she's gonna fall. You know?
Right.
It's like I like that stuff. I stick with the horror movie genre, the horror movie, that because we all know what's coming.
Right. And I'm pretty sure they had movies even back then where the female was the protagonist or she portrayed to be strong and independent, but it didn't go as to extremes compared to now.
Yeah, like Halloween is a good example of what was that chicken Halloween? They stick to the mantra, they stick to the motif, the genre, the horror movie thing. We all knew Micah was coming. We all know, he was after her, and it's just why? How is she so stupid? How does she not know that? You know,
Is that the one Jamie Lee Curtis is in?
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
Yeah. John
Yep.
Kramer. Spaceballs is still funny. Yes, it is. Mel
God,
Brooks.
I haven't even watched that one in a long time.
Oh, that is so hilarious. Mel Brooks, and he does Spaceballs. I used to love Mel Brooks movies. Uh,
Yeah, I there was a lot of old movies I liked. I mean, even some new ones are good, but lately they've been kind of screwing up.
yeah. Now they're gonna do. I thought one of the better movies from last year was Guardians of the Galaxy.
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, got to watch Guardians of the Galaxy. Now they're gonna do the next one, and I think they're gynoing it because they gave a strong Amazon woman character in there. But we'll see how that goes.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Stop gynoing your movies, Hollywood.
Gynoing your
It's not
movies.
gonna work for you.
Yeah. Now, with Superman versus Batman, they desexualized it, and I thought that was the way to go on these movies because they're desexualizing the characters. Uh, it is more of a pure form of uh, because everything's over sexualized now. That's how they get you. That's how they get the blue pill guy to watch it. why does Wonder Woman need to be sexualized? You know,
I didn't see that one yet, but when I looked at the cover of it, it did kind of draw my interest. Whether I wanted to watch it or not,
yeah,
I
there was
don't
a
know.
few. They did a few experiments. You can read about it on the internet how they were desexualizing. Just type in desexualizing of movies, and they'll give you the two that came out last year where they throw the experiment. And I think it's a MGTOW sort of thing too. Uh, whether if you don't want all that garbage and that stuff in your mind, you shouldn't have to.
No, just simply block it out or just don't
Yeah,
watch it.
yeah. Well, it's so much. It's so much work blocking that stuff out, and that's what we get triggered. I can only take so much of it in the movie.
Right. Like
uh,
the Ghostbusters movie, I know I would not be able to sit through that one.
what are they doing? They're giving numbers out on the 1-800-suicide 86759. Oh, that's what's that song? Okay, I see what they're doing. Yeah,
All
gone.
right. Well, I'm going to get going here. I do want to thank you for having me participate in your podcast, but
Okay, and I'm gonna close it out and pretty soon. And you take care, Red Pill.
all right, man. You have a good Sunday.
Okay, yeah. I still have yet to look for something to eat today, so that'll be my next. That'll be how I'm gonna close this out. I'm gonna open up the freezer in a few minutes here and see what I have, and try to see, figure out what will go with that.
I think I'm just going to stick with my video games today. No videos. I try to make it a habit to where I don't make content during the weekend. Well, that last live, now I'm fucking up on my words. The last live stream I did being an exception to that, but
Okay, yeah.
that's the routine I try to go with from now on.
Yeah, you could use live streams as a video now too. Just drop a tag in there, and keep it short and be direct. That's an easy way to do it now.
I still prefer the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, scripted, and I don't do much scripting. I rarely ever script. If I'm reading something and I think it's interesting, maybe I'll talk about it a little, and that's about it. I just mumble on, I mean.
That's pretty much what I do in all mine. I mean,
Yeah.
none of mine is scripted at all.
Yeah, if someone doesn't get it, I'm sorry. That's where my brain was that day.
All right, man. I'm
Okay.
out.
Okay.
You have a good day.
You take care too. Well, we've been going 2 hours and 20 minutes here, and it's been another Sunday. Sunday Travcast. We didn't do a bro down. We didn't do a throwdown. But we had some interesting conversation, and that's what it's all about. Just kind of working your way through life as a man now in this difficult world of gynocentrism. Uh, if you listen close enough, you can get something out of it. And apply it to your life. I don't claim to know everything. I'm not the smartest guy on the street, and I'm not the most personable guy on the street, but I am tenacious, and I'll do this every Sunday for you because each and every one of you guys are important. And with that, let me see who's in the room so I can do my shout outs. Who's the active participants? Ben Volacoster and Chris Ra. Hello, Chris. Jeff Burns, John Kramer, Men's Knowledge 101. One of my favorite, one of the original producers around the Mgtow manosphere. Misanthropic Oxford. Hello, Misanthropic. Renee Shingles. This now I always pronounce this wrong. The big S sits like a new, and you explained that on the last podcast what that was, but that's a Japanese thing for sits like a dog, something like that. And staying free Mgtow, and there's Traversable Mgtow in there, and Shingles, and everybody that shows up weekly to listen to me blabber on about Mgtow things, and hopefully connect with maybe one guy. Again, if I can get one guy a week to wake up, I'm happy. That's my purpose here. And join. Who said that? Stay Free said that. And with that, I think 2 hours and 20 minutes of hearing me blabber on, and hopefully Shiny will come back and we can get Messenger in one of these days to talk about deeper stuff. And maybe someday we'll just talk about movies, and that's always fun, or what I'm going to eat that day. I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks a lot, man, and thanks a lot for being Mgtow. You guys have a great day.